Okay, so we are now at the very end of our summer harvest, which is the last week. We've had 9 of these so far. This is the 9th. It's good. I planned it to be a summer event, and some of you are in school. Some of you go back in 2 weeks, and others 3. So it worked out fairly well. Can anyone tell me what's the last fruit we have not covered?
Self-control.
Did you read it off my thing? What a pro!
She is.
What a pro. I'd be surprised if you read my handwriting anyway. So, this is the final fruit. Everything finishes to this point. We've done 8, and like I said, this is the 9th. Self-control is a big one. It's a hard one, and it is one that makes a lot of sense for us as people to work on, because when it comes to self-control, we'll get into it more, but it's doing like the right things and not doing the wrong things, and controlling yourself even when the wrong things seem like a good thing at the time, even though you know they're not. So this one's very difficult in my opinion for some things. Some things you have a lot of self-control, and then sometimes you have weaknesses in other spots. Ellen might have a lot of self-control in a situation I do not, but I might have a lot of self-control in a situation Ellen does not. I mean, everyone's got some kind of weakness in their life pretty well. If you don't, congratulations. So, can anyone tell me what fruits we've done so far before we get going? What have been the other 8? Let's see if anyone's been paying attention. See if you guys can name them all.
Well, Sheldon can take care of it.
Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, gentleness, goodness. What?
Got a little out of order.
Yeah, I know. That's all I did.
Maybe.
Did you get faithfulness?
Faithfulness. I said goodness.
Is that all of them?
Missing one.
Kindness.
The one we're doing? Actually missing 2.
Okay, no, 2 more.
Kindness and gentleness.
I said kindness.
She did say
You just said
kindness.
kindness, but gentleness.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So, like I said, we try as people to handle situations on our own. As Christians, that's not how we work. We are not that good, not that big. And we often fail in these certain situations. I mean, all of us can think of, or I'm sure you can, I can on myself, but somewhere where you can think, yeah, I really struggle when it comes to this situation, and I don't have very much self-control in that situation. And it comes in all forms. I mean, it's not just, if you think about self-control, it's like, you think of an actual, like, physical sin, maybe, just fill in the blank, whatever. I'm sure someone out there, hopefully none of you guys, but someone out there has a problem with literally stealing stuff. Like, they can't control themselves. This guy steals stuff. But there's also self-control when it comes to worrying and stuff like that. Because as a Christian, we can put that stuff behind us. We got God on our side, so just keep moving. So, what's the first thing, I want your guys' opinions, what's the first thing that comes to mind when it comes to self-control? Not as the word itself, but something that you have a problem with, or you know people have a problem with, maybe not even you. Controlling when it comes to not doing stuff, having self-control. What's some situations?
Well, for me, it's because I'm homeschooled. I got a phone too, so trying to like sit at the desk and do school without playing your phone is like killer. I mean, it's so much willpower.
I understand. I mean, I work at home, and sometimes I get distracted on my phone.
Yeah, phone usage is going to be my weakness.
Phone usage is a good thing for self-control.
I
What
also
else?
sometimes find myself losing my temper of late.
Losing temper. Having control over your temper. What other suggestions I have?
Eating Oreos.
I was gonna say, like, self-control. I said the first thing came to my mind on my writing here was, when you think of the world and self-control, you think of people trying to diet, because everyone likes to eat food, and food is awesome.
I cooked like 4 packs of ramen noodles today.
That's like
More like
two days worth of calories.
And like a week's worth of sodium.
Yeah. Delicious. My dad ate 4 packets of ramen and he would die.
Have you ever had the ramen that you buy in a tray and it has like the sauce and stuff?
Yeah, like the
in it?
fancy ramen.
Yeah.
Fancy ramen.
Yeah. The fancy, like instead of a
Only
quarter a
milliliters.
package, they're like 75 cents.
Yeah.
There's such a thing as a fancy ramen.
Yeah.
But you can go to a
I
ramen
hate
shop.
that.
Yeah, it's like
Wait, look.
they put eggs in ramen. It's so weird.
That's how you get fancy.
Gross.
I put every single spice and every spicy sauce in our house into ramen noodle one time.
Ew.
I got sick.
Well,
I wonder why. Our talk
Cinnamon.
of self-control pivoted to ramen noodles.
So I think,
It's a real problem.
like I said, getting in shape or dieting, like I said a few weeks ago, I have started going to the gym and stuff, but I work out, but my diet is like completely trash. Like there's days where like, let's go work out. The other night we went and worked out. We went and got, after 9 o'clock, it was after 9 o'clock because we worked out at the gym late. Went to Applebee's because it's half price appetizers. What did I eat? It was appetizers. So I ate 5 breadsticks. Like you can't go to the gym and then go eat 5 breadsticks and think you're good anymore.
if you're me, obviously.
It's like I ordered breadsticks. It was like $2. I'm like, well, I'm gonna get like 2 breadsticks. And I ordered another side too, and they were like 5 breadsticks and Alfredo. It was delicious. I like bread.
Garlic
That's where
bread.
it gets you on like carbs. Like that's
Yeah.
something you
Here's
want
another
to
t-shirt idea.
Yeah.
Bro, I don't know what it is. Cheez-Its? They get me every night. Cheez-Its.
Yes.
Cheez-Its, goldfish.
Okay, goldfish, yeah.
It has to be rainbow goldfish. I can't, it has to be rainbow.
No, flavor.
No.
blast.
No, rainbow only.
Flavor blasted and flavor blasted
Oh, food
pizza.
blast is disgusting.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
No, I think the package we got was out of date because I had them and they were delicious. But the packet
You don't
we
want to
got
get them
was
out of
not
date fish. All right.
Give them another chance, Shelby.
So, off of what I just told you about me working out and going and eating like I do, am I gonna get anywhere very fast when it comes to like muscle gain and stuff?
You should have went with the steak.
I should have went with the
More
steak.
protein powder every time.
Go balance out my 5 breadsticks. Not only did I get 5 breadsticks, I also ordered the other appetizer that was big soft pretzels. So it's only bread.
You really want
You go to
bread.
Applebee's and don't order wings.
That's it. I'm making him a shirt.
I've never been
just
to
I
Applebee's in
like
my
bread.
life.
What?
And then in parentheses,
You have
and
leaders
Jesus.
that want to a little.
You should go there.
When I was like 2,
Yeah, I don't know at all. I could be going.
That's the
But
only
yeah,
time.
I'm not getting anywhere very fast when it comes to dieting like that and working out. And we can add that. I'm gonna use the gym. I use the gym and another fruit of the spirit thing for an analogy. But like I talked to a guy the other day in the gym who's like just top notch, like physical condition, like top 1% of the planet. And I was like, what? We was just talking to him, and I was like, what exactly do you do? And this dude, it's not bad calories like breadsticks, but in order to keep his muscle mass and keep his muscles and everything running like it's supposed to, he eats 4,000 calories a day. Yeah, it's like so much, but it's all good calories, so.
The Rock on
But-
his cheat day eats a tray of brownies.
Wait, what?
I do that every day.
That's
I
my
went to the
snack.
gym for like a week,
But-
and like all the guys there were like intimidatingly big, and I was like, okay, I don't like this.
But like,
And then you had those like skinny guys there that were about this big, trying to lift like weights. It was pretty interesting.
It's alright,
There
alright.
was a guy running.
alright, back to it. But for like self-control, once again, that takes self-control for him to do that. Because I personally do not want to try to eat 4,000 calories a day, especially good
I
calories.
do.
With just
Okay, I love that. I
breadsticks,
do.
with just breadsticks or Oreos or Big Macs, I could do it.
Oh, yeah.
But good calories where it's like, oh, 4,000 calories of protein, like chicken and stuff. No, that's gonna take forever. That's a lot of food.
Strips.
Yeah,
I had those for lunch.
So
that doesn't count with
no,
the
chicken
fries and
strips
the
does not
bread,
count. I'm talking like
Come on.
grilled and
Grilled chicken strips are fine.
So self-control. We have been talking about where the fruits of the spirit come from. Fruits of the spirit, self-control is the very last one it talks about. Where the fruits of the spirit come from?
Go.
What?
Go.
God?
Gal.
Good pronunciation.
I was like nervously. I'm
Very
not sure if I'm
southern,
right
like
or not.
nervous southern person. But they come from God, right? Obviously, it's a fruit. So this means that self-control as a Christian, it comes from God. And the type of self-control that God is talking about here, we need Him for it. And it's not like dieting and such, because there's a lot of fit people out here that do not have God, and they have the control in order to get fit and eat their 4,000 calories a day. But God is talking about more of a different kind. It's not about the diets and such, but it may help. I mean, it probably wouldn't hurt. I believe that it's got to be different then, because there's other people that have that, and the fruits of the Spirit come from God. The fruits, they point towards Jesus and God. And if I can diet really good and have awesome self-control when it comes to dieting, that's not really pointing to God. I mean, people are just going to say, well, that guy's in shape, or that girl's in shape. Not, they must be a killer Christian, because look at them. That's not what it's talking about here. So what must it be about? What's your opinion here? What is the self-control? Because I don't have the exact opinion. I'm giving you guys my opinion here, but I think I'm pretty close to right. What is God's self-control that He's talking about?
Yeah?
So
Why are you looking at me?
What kind of self-control is God doing?
Like to not compulsively sin, or not be able to read your Bible all the time and stay with it and stuff like
Good
that.
points.
Reed says self-control is controlling yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look up the definition, he's exactly right. So control ones, you can put it on physical sins. You can put it on, such as reading your Bible, as Mason said. You can put it on your emotions and your behavior. So this one makes more sense, because there's a lot of things that we know we're not supposed to do as Christians. And they take some self-control, some of them. I mean, especially for teenagers. There's a lot of stuff out there. Just fill in the blank. The world is full of it. All kinds of sins that other teens and other people are pushing on you and wanting you to get into and get a hold of. And they make it out to be some kind of great thing or some kind of fun thing. And it just doesn't work like that. And sometimes it takes some self-control. Let me find where I'm at. And we've all probably failed here before. Like, there's probably been a situation, maybe you can't think of it, but you know not to do something and you ended up doing it anyway, and then you felt like garbage afterwards because you're like, oh, that was dumb of me because I knew better, but I just couldn't really stop myself. And there has been moments, like, I have literally thought to myself, I probably shouldn't do this, do it anyway. It's like, and then afterwards, I'm like, why did I do that?
It's like Taco Bell.
I specifically remember telling a lie like that. I consciously made the decision, this is a lie, you shouldn't say this, but it was going to help get me out of a awkward situation. And then I
That's
felt
really-
like garbage afterwards. I was like, I don't even lie normally, why does that work? It's terrible.
So how does this, because most of the fruits, or all the fruits really, help us out in life. This one helps us out by letting me go against sin in the world and please God, because like the world can be really pushy on us Christians, like I said, especially the ones your guys' age. Adults have plenty too, but I think it's really hard on you guys just because of school and stuff. We have discussed multiple times in class that according to you guys, I think 99% of people in school are
I think it was
garbage or
90-10.
something.
That was
90?
95.
I think it was 90. Was it
I thought it
90-10?
was 90-10.
Okay, 90. All right, I was betting a little too much on schools. So And there's plenty of situations where you don't do something the world wants you to do, such as in school and such, and you start getting rejected by people because you don't do these situations, and that starts making us feel bad. And all this stuff when it comes to being a Christian, being rejected by people or getting stuff pushed on you, in my opinion, it's all just the devil. He's trying to, if you know God and you want to share God, he wants to slow you down on that. And if he thinks that he can scare you into slowing down on serving God by making you think that it matters when people reject you for God, he's going to throw that stuff in your way. And there are all kinds of different times where people will reject you throughout your life. I mean, I've said it in here before. If you think serving God is not going to get you rejected at some times, you're kind of nuts, because we're serving Jesus. Jesus was around. He got rejected himself. So it's not very likely that you're going to be serving someone who got rejected and not get rejected. And the hard times, when it comes to this self-control thing, it's hard whenever no one's going to know about it. When maybe it's just your friends offering you to do fill in the blank. I wrote down a few situations that I guarantee you, before you get out of high school, you'll have multiple opportunities at any of these situations. And these are just physical ones. You got drinking, drugs, sex, language. When it comes to just people notice when you don't have bad language, and that's just a small one. Parties that you're not supposed to go to. And I guarantee you some of you guys have already had options at all those or some of them, even when you're just the younger ones. And for the ones that are homeschooled, you guys are not out of the loop on this. I mean, there's plenty of, you guys have, guarantee you have friends that use language. Maybe when you're around your friends, you use language. And there's just all these things. And when your parents or whoever you're around, such as I've known people that through the years, they act really good around like me or other friends that are Christians, and then they slip up, or you notice them around their other friends, they're like, oh, sorry. And they try and make excuses on whatever they did wrong. And that's when it's really easy, in my opinion, for like, it doesn't become self-control so much then, it's more control of someone else. Like you're not going to, let's say, I'm going to pick on Mason. Mason has been figuring out he really likes underage drinking, and so Mason is around his friends, they're drinking. He's like, yeah, give me a beer, that's cool, and then starts drinking. Good old cold beer on the river. I live right next to the river. Mason's like,
I could just imagine. Bud Light right here.
but at that point, it's on Mason. Whenever he's around his parents, obviously, Mason's underage. He's not going to be like, yo, Dad, pass me a bud. It's not going to work like that. But that's not on self-control at that point. That's on his parents' control. Or if he's trying to hide it from, he's friends with Jesse. He knows Jesse's not into that. Once again, it's not self-control. It becomes self-control when Mason is with his friends that are drinking and they want him to drink or whatever, and they're the only ones around and they're the only ones that's going to know. It comes like that for anything. And those are the things that's really, in my opinion, going to mess you up in the long terms, is the stuff you're trying to hide. Because I've had friends through the years, I mean, get around the wrong crowd, not have any self-control, and now they're strung out on drugs. And it can happen on any of those things. And most things, when it comes to self-control, a lot of the stuff the devil uses are addictive sources. I mean, drugs, alcohol. You can put it on, I think up to an extent, sex and partying can be addictive. I mean, you go to a party, man, that thing was awesome, and then you go to the next one, and the next one. You can't wait for the next one.
Is driving fast a considerable one?
Driving fast. Depends how late you are. I can't tell you much about that one. I have been known to speed. Just depends. Just don't get a ticket. Tickets are.
That is like really bad advice.
You're doing a good job.
I did have someone tell me at church the other day, I don't even remember who it was, but they was trying to tell other kids that it's not illegal to get caught, and I'm like, that's not how that works.
But you
I
know,
don't remember who it was, though.
In a way, though.
gotten out of a ticket.
Hey,
How'd you do
no,
that?
don't listen
Keep
to
going.
Grant. Don't speed and kill yourself.
Yeah, don't kill yourself.
I don't know what I
What
did.
if you're-
Whatever you do, don't
I
drive,
cried.
don't
I
drive.
would be like, well,
I have my food on 60.
Have,
the wrong lane.
have control to drive non-distracted, or it will get you in trouble. Because the other day I ran into my own mailbox.
How did you run into your own mailbox?
I was a little distracted. I had a
Is
lot
the
on my
mailbox
mind.
still sitting?
Yes, it just right down the side of it. So my nice truck out there now, the passenger side door has a nice green line across it and a nice crease in it.
At least you haven't gotten to 2 wrecks this year.
Yes, I've never wrecked.
how
Just
bad?
hit his own mailbox.
Oh,
Yeah.
I ran off the road and then ran into a tractor the
I
second
have not
time.
hit anything.
Nice.
It's probably genetic.
Mom hasn't hit the mailbox.
I did not.
You hit the mailbox and the old brown truck got one time bad.
Vision was there. He has, he could tell.
All right, so back on it. We got a little distracted there.
Strong mailbox.
But, how common, I want to know from you guys. You don't have to tell me if you've ever been in these situations or if you've ever said yes or no to these situations. But how common, like these ones that I just listed, things that as a Christian we're not supposed to do, drinking, drugs, sex, language, parties, how common are all those in high school?
Very.
God sake.
Okay, can we actually say like, not saying you're not, I'm not calling anyone out, I'm not saying you've done any of these things, but raise your hand if within the first month of school this year, you could get into all of these situations.
Not even a month.
Not even a month.
Probably in like the first 3 days.
Not even that.
Will there be parties within
Yeah,
the first 3 days?
Yes. Guarantee.
Wow,
Back to school party.
didn't know that was a thing.
I can
Oh,
probably get in all
We
these
just have-
situations like tomorrow. And
I
school hasn't even
remember
started yet,
Bryce
that's how bad it is.
Yeah.
If the back
Who's got
school party
no
involves
Yeah.
crown.
Okay, I was
When
gonna
you
say-
got all these,
No, not your Bryce.
Bryce Triplett, he took the bottle.
when you got all these situations, all right. When we have all these situations, this is why self-control is so important. Because like you guys said, I didn't even know that, how easy it is for all these situations. And I'm sure you get into most of these situations probably like before high school.
Yeah, how young does this start?
Well, 7th grade,
Well, at
maybe
Conway,
before.
like, I know like 6th graders and all that crap.
Yo, 9-year-olds
Yeah,
are different.
Sometimes 5th
man.
graders, once in a while.
Not too long ago,
4th graders.
a little girl, I think she was a 6th grader, she brought a water bottle full of vodka to school.
Yeah.
And like a bunch of little 6th grade girls were crawling to the bathroom, throwing up by the end of the school day.
I wish I was there.
I know for a fact that on my bus I saw a little girl in like 1st or 2nd grade write a bad word on the window in the frost.
Well, now little kids,
They're all cussing machines.
yeah, freaking kindergartners are like cussing like sailors. Good.
That would be cool to watch.
That just tells you what their parents are doing at home.
Yeah, that just tells you what the
Learning
parents are
somewhere.
doing.
Well,
Because-
also just like,
On the bus in
even
general,
if it's
from the high
not from their
schoolers.
parents, literally, like, I guarantee, like, us with Libby though, we're like strict on her because she's around all of that. And it's hard because I guarantee, like, they all want to do it if the
Oh,
children's
yeah.
doing it.
And that's exactly right with this whole self-control thing. I mean, on the small kids, I mean, you can't expect someone like Libby to have much self-control. Like, oh, this is normal, everyone else is doing it. You guys are a different story. I mean, you guys actually know what's right, what's wrong, what you should do, and what you shouldn't do.
It's called peer pressure.
And yeah, peer pressure is 100% correct. I mean, you would be, in my opinion, maybe not. I know how I would be if I was in those situations. I'm not gonna lie to you. When you get in those situations, even if you say no, you still have second thoughts about them. Like, oh, what would it have been like if I would have actually done it? And that's when the whole self-control thing kicks in even more because, like you said, I say no maybe to the first thing, like the first party or whatever you fill in the blank with any of these. And then you start having thoughts of, man, what would that have been like? There's, like you said, tons of parties, tons of sex, tons of drugs, tons of alcohol. The second time it comes up, then I have to have maybe even a little more self-control if I've been thinking about it and thinking about what it would have been like. And this is a hard thing. I mean, you can see all the people that don't have self-control, and we can't really expect them to have that much if we're saying these fruits come from God, and they don't have God. So, it also comes from self-control. One big thing I'm going to tell you guys, because self-control is a difficult thing. Like I said, there is some spots that you're going to struggle. And the best way to avoid those things, I'm going to use like druggies as an example. Someone's trying to get off drugs. What do they want to avoid being in that situation?
Their past.
Their past, other drugs, such as that, right? So let's say you have a problem with, like I said, you have a problem with partying. You went to a party once, it was a lot of fun, you know it's wrong, but you'd like to go back. If you get into a friend group full of partiers that want to go to a party every weekend, what are you going to end up getting back into? Partying. I mean, it's pretty simple. Same thing with drugs. I mean, I've always heard like the thing, you don't, when it comes to, I have in my family, I've had alcoholics in the past. You don't put two alcoholics together and think that they're going to help each other out. That's not where it's at. So who you're around even has to do with self-control. Because I guarantee you, let me ask you this, for the ones, because I'm kind of getting info off you guys now, for the parties or whatever, all the bad stuff, the ones that do all that stuff, are they more the popular crowd? I don't know. Like when it comes to school, is there a popular crowd?
Yeah.
I mean, like at our school,
Yeah. Popular, like Blake.
just all of them.
Yeah.
So the more popular ones, the more the wild crowd.
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
That's why they're popular.
So obviously, when it comes to this peer pressure, you're seeing the cool kids, the popular kids, the kids that people like doing it. I say kids, you guys aren't kids, but you're not that much.
Just say alternate.
You're not that much younger than me. What?
It's alternate 18 and like 7.
Be bad.
I've been in basketball.
32 November.
Yeah. But that can be peer pressure and self-control with who you're around. You put yourself around good people, you're going to get in less trouble. And I know we've talked about it. There's not that many good people in schools. You can find some. I have friends that come through public school that are good people. So I assume there's still good people back there. They're out of school now, but
The geeky kids are the good kids.
what?
The geeky kids.
The geeky
Kids
kids
are like the smart girls. Like 90% of the time, it's gonna be a girl who's one of the good people.
Yeah, there's different peoples between geek and nerd, so.
There is.
What there is? I mean the same thing. I don't
It's
know.
obvious, and it's not the, like someone, I don't know who said that, I think Amber and I said it. It's not the cool crowd that's normally the good ones. Is there, let me ask you this, would you say, you guys picture for Conway, you guys picture for Buffalo, the cool crowd, Ellen as well. Is there anyone in the cool crowd that you consider just a good person?
One.
There's some that's good
Just
people,
one
but they
person.
have bad habits.
Then what makes them cool? See, I consider
Okay.
that the dorkwad crowd.
That's the ones I don't want to hang around.
So we got one.
Okay.
Oh, it's the,
yeah.
I don't know, the bad ones. I can't stand it.
Okay, so we got one person in Conway and none in Buffalo.
Wait, but what makes them cool then? Because to me,
Because
if they're jerks and they
they
do
do
stupid stuff, that's not cool. But I'm
Yeah,
old.
but they're considered pretty or good looking, so.
Yeah,
It doesn't
or
matter.
they're
Really?
sorority.
I guess I'm a
popular.
nerd.
So it doesn't.
So our school doesn't have a cool crowd.
Good people are never good looking. No, that's what we're learning.
Really?
They're compensating for their looks.
Isn't
Okay.
it amazing?
No,
So,
but then is my question, like, what
They
makes
have to
people
have-
drawn to them then if they're not good people?
I feel like a lot of them, like, I don't know, me, I don't think they're cool because of the things they do, but like, I don't know, they're still considered the cool people or the popular people in the school.
Usually it's the
Toddlers was like
sports.
fifth grade.
Usually it's the sports.
Yeah.
I have noticed that the sports people are normally cooler.
In like bigger schools, like I can see like in Buffalo, maybe our team.
Who's the cool sports guy?
So,
I was just curious, because I'm like way out of the loop, y'all.
yeah, Julie ain't been in school in 13 years. I'm homeschooled. What year did you graduate?
2010.
Oh, well, 11 years. I thought you too
I
old.
think it's my president.
So
Who would have to go outside?
that puts us, because everyone wants to consider themselves cool, in my opinion. I mean, you don't want to be the ones that Amber said, oh, it's the geeks.
Excuse you.
Rip geeks, geeks are lit, y'all.
Jesse supports the geeks.
It's like life goals.
I am.
But who you're going to be around, that also has self-control. Because if you're going to try to hang out and be the cool kids, I guess you got to be a bad kid. And does anyone remember that? Just makes me think of, because pop songs, everything like that, wants to draw you into that. There was a song, it's 7 years old now, I guess. It was on when I got my license. That's the only reason I really know it. Because whenever I got my license, I just drive around and radio surf. But does anyone ever remember the song I Want to Be Like the Cool Kids?
Yes.
Because the cool kids, they seem to fit in. But everything draws you in that way. And now what we have been talking about is physical self-control. And that, once again, points people towards Jesus. Maybe not the super popular kids, because, like you said, normally the non-popular kids aren't the better kids. But it'll still point people towards Jesus when they see that you're not into that and they want to know what's different about you. So now we're going to talk about the non-physical stuff when it comes to self-control, and that is emotions.
Don't got any.
I have wrote down Julie's. The first thing is not blowing up on people when you get mad, or losing your temper on people. Whether it be your family is the easiest one to lose your temper on, but you can lose your temper on other people as well. And this is a big one because it takes self-control. I mean, I have literally seen people upset and then they just like remain calm the whole time and they use self-control. And then I've seen the opposite where you get someone slightly upset and they have no self-control and they just explode.
You know, the only thing that bothers me with the emotion self-control is people that have like nothing to complain about or nothing to be, upset about, but like one thing goes wrong and they just blow up and how their life sucks. I'm like, yo.
Understandable. Then also, like, when it goes off of that, like, sometimes you, like, find it hard. You have people with all this bad stuff going on, and you have, like, something that does get you down, but it's not as bad as their situation. You're like, why do I feel bad whenever I have so much better going for me? But, like the other night, Dad, I ran into the mailbox and put that big crease down.
What did your dad say?
He wasn't upset. He was upset for me in my truck. He's like, man, if I was you, I'd just be sick. I'm like, it's fine, it's whatever. It's like, I can't do anything about it now. Getting upset's not going to fix the dent in my door. And
It's a white out.
it's not white.
Some white out and then
Oh.
color over it with the brown or
My
tan
mom's boss
Sharpie.
scratched up his BMW and I told him to just get a white Sharpie and get to it.
Yes.
Just put a fun look at
So, but now man fails this stuff without God. And we just aren't that good. But God, He helps us. He helps us through these situations. And we manage. How does this point us towards God when it comes to the emotional side, when we don't blow up on people and such? How
Don't
does
have any.
that helps point people towards God, the fact that you have no emotions?
Just look out like this. You'd help.
How can it help?
Robot?
How does it help? How can our emotions having self-control with our emotions and our attitude help when it comes to being a Christian? Any answers?
Tells that we're calmer.
Yeah.
Just a little.
Just a little.
I mean, the main thing is it shows something different. When things are going wrong for us, like Jesse said, it bugs him when people have slight stuff go wrong and it's just everything is awful. As a Christian, I should be able to have stuff go wrong, and yes, it's going to bother me. But I should react different than if someone doesn't have any hope in God and they're trying to rely on themselves through the whole situation. Because if I'm trying to, because there's a lot of people in helpless situations, like my friend with cancer. There's nothing he can do about that. It's all kind of up to God. And he knows that. But if he doesn't know God and he thinks that he's just fighting himself, he's going to have a lot different attitude that way. And having this better attitude is going to point people towards God. And it's different, like I said, when it comes to self-control. Maybe you're not the cool kid, but you're doing stuff in the right way. You're doing stuff for God, and you're having this self-control to turn down all this bad stuff. You're having self-control to react in a better way. That's just so much different. This world is full of darkness. Like I said, 90%, you guys said school is bad. If you're the 10% good, when stuff is all bad and someone notices good, it's way more noticeable than all the bad. Go ahead and bow your heads for me. I'll wrap it up right there. So we talked about self-control and all this, and we've talked about all the fruits as a whole throughout these last 9 weeks. And each one of them points people towards Jesus in all of them. And each of them kind of complement each other. If you can have one of them really well, it's going to help you get other ones, and they just kind of all bank on each other. But this self-control, it is a big one because it puts us in another bracket when it comes to sin and such. Because as Christians, we know sin is wrong. And there's certain spots in our life where we're going to be put in a hard spot, and we're going to have to depend on God and self-control because we're not big enough to do it ourselves. We're going to have to depend on Him to help us out because we're in a spot where we would normally fall, and He's going to help hold us up. But at those points, you have to give it up to God. I mean, there are some things in life I know I'm not big enough to handle. I've tried to handle them multiple times, and I just keep dropping the ball and messing up where God can handle it if I just give it to Him. My first question to you guys tonight, and when it comes to questions, all I'm having you do is raise your hand if you want to agree with it and answer. But all you're doing is raising your hand, and that's just something physical on the outside. If you're watching on YouTube, you can feel free to do that as well. But you're telling yourself, hey, I want to change this about me. I want to work on this. I want help. I'm going to pray for you if I see your hand go up, and you want God to help you out. But my first question is, you struggle in those situations. You struggle sometimes when it comes to self-control. In those situations that you know what the right answer is, and you just end up doing the wrong thing sometimes. And maybe it's a certain spot in your life, or maybe it's just randomly. But you know you have a problem with that, and you want to try to do better. You want God to help you out in those situations, that you could stand up and be the odd one out, or just even when no one's watching, even if you think it's not going to affect your life, God still sees what you do. But you want to be able to have that self-control to say no to sin no matter what the situation. Go ahead and raise your hand for me. Okay, put them down for me. And my last question is, I said that if you can get this self-control thing down, you're going to shine for God even more because, like we said, the world is not full of those type of people. And you have trouble with just shining in general. Like I said, it's a dark world out there, And we're supposed to show God, and it's a scary thing to show God sometimes because it could end up getting us rejected by people. But you could lose friends, you could gain friends, you never know, but there's always that option. But you struggle having the ability to show God, it just kind of scares you, or you don't know how, or you don't know what to do, you don't know what to tell people or say to people. And you want that help to be able to show people God more and just let your life shine as a light to God to direct people. Go ahead and raise your hand for me if you want that. Keep them up for just a moment. Thank you. All right. All right, we're going to close out in prayer. Lord, thank you for all the blessings you've given us. Thank you for the prayer requests we had earlier. Bless each one of them. Guide and direct each one of the people here tonight, Lord. Bless the ones who raised their hand saying that they want to have that self-control when the hard situations pop up. Bless the ones who raised their hand willing to shine and show God to more people. Bless them in that could be something for them. And I just want to thank you for coming and dying for us, Lord, taking our sins away and putting them upon you. We don't deserve that, and just thank you for everything you've done for us. Guide and direct us through our week. Help us that we could all have our self-control. Thank you for everything you've done for us. In Jesus' name, amen.